Chris Hemsworth, yes, Thor, has a genetic mutation that gives him an up to 60% chance of getting Alzheimer's disease. As a geneticist, it made me wonder what my risk is for this terrible disease. So I took an advanced genetic test, and what it told me was pretty shocking. The test I took is NeuroAge, founded by Dr. Kristen Glorioso, a physician scientist specializing in neuroscience and aging. Their mission is to give people a clearer, more actionable picture of how their brain is aging, genetically, biologically, and functionally. What makes NeuroAge different is how multi-layered it is. They combine 4 powerful data streams to build what they call a neurological age profile. The first is whole genome sequencing from a simple saliva kit, and it's far more comprehensive than tests like 23andMe. They also offer neurogames and a brain health quiz, which are clinically validated cognitive tasks and questions that measure your reaction time, memory, attention, focus, and mental state, converting all scores into a biological brain age. They can also test your blood biomarkers through a home test that measures expression levels of 52 brain aging-related genes, providing an organ-specific aging clock for the brain. And lastly, they can refer you for MRI imaging for a radiologist-read 30-minute whole-body MRI to detect silent cancers, aneurysms, or structural brain changes. I started with whole genome sequencing by sending previous data for analysis, filling out the NeuroAge lifestyle quiz, and completing the neurogames. Results from these 3 would give me a good idea of my current and future brain health, and to confirm whether I am the long-lost identical twin of Chris Hemsworth, because the similarities are uncanny, including sharing rugged good looks and taste for great music. The NeuroAge email with results arrived a few weeks later. When I opened the report, the first thing I saw was the headline I'd been dreading: I'm not related to Chris. Actually, the shocker was that I carry the same variant in the ApoE gene as Chris, but I only have 1 copy, meaning that I am heterozygous for a mutation called ApoE4. Being heterozygous raises my Alzheimer's risk to roughly 2 to 3 times the population average. For homozygous like Chris, meaning they have 2 copies, that risk jumps to as high as 12 times. So yes, we share the same mutation, but the expression and impact are not the same. The test also examined 99 other variants influencing neurodegenerative risk. 58 rare mutations in the APP, PSEN1 and 2 genes responsible for familial early onset Alzheimer's, and 41 common variants spread across the genome that contribute to late onset risk. In total, I carried 23 variants that raise risk, balanced out by 17 that offer protection, giving me a genetic resilience score of 77.8%, which reflects the chance of me being Alzheimer's disease free at age 80 based on genetics alone. This means that my risk is higher than average, but that is far from a diagnosis. And that is very important to note because it's estimated that genetics plays a 60% role, while lifestyle a roughly 40% role in determining whether you develop Alzheimer's disease. Meaning that if I focus on the pillars of health, I can prevent or delay disease. More on this later. NeuroAge also screened for 40 rare mutations in 6 Parkinson's genes and 450 common variants linked to Parkinson's disease. Fortunately, I don't carry any rare mutations in these genes. This resulted in my resilience score being high, meaning I have a low predisposition for Parkinson's. In addition to brain disease risk, NeuroAge tests for variants in 6 genes that are linked to living longer. These genes offer stress resistance, increased cognitive performance, improved insulin signaling, and lower inflammation, to name a few. And they're often found in centenarians, people that live to over 100 years. As for my results, it was another gut punch. I don't carry any protective variants in these genes. Lastly, the genetic part of the report looked at 1-letter differences in DNA that can impact their clinical management. The results stated that I carry a variant in MTHFR, a gene that regulates folate metabolism and homocysteine recycling. People with this variant can accumulate higher homocysteine, something associated with vascular disease, cognitive decline, and mood disorders. This isn't alarming, but it is actionable, and NeuroAge made recommendations based on my results. Genes are only part of the story. NeuroAge also quantifies your behaviors, specifically 9 pillars of brain health, through a 4-minute quiz. My score came back as 7.2 out of 10, which is not bad, but 3 pillars clearly need work. And they're not surprising because everyone likely suffers from them. Sleep, community, and stress management. And these deficits matter because sleep deprivation alone can double amyloid accumulation rates, the same protein that builds up in Alzheimer's. One of the neat parts is that this score combined with my genetics contributed to my solution plan. Another part of NeuroAge is NeuroGames, which are 5 digital games, each validated against neuropsychological standards. One of them is Reaction Time, which tests processing speed and alertness. Another is Number Span, which tests short-term memory and working memory capacity. There's also Focus Task, which measures sustained attention amid distractions. They also have Word Pairs, which tests verbal learning and associative memory. And lastly, Names and Faces, which tests facial name recall, a classic early Alzheimer's metric. I scored above average for 4 of the 5 games, resulting in a biological brain age of 31.8 years, 12 and a half years younger than my chronological age. The cool part is that over time, I can replay these games to see if lifestyle changes are actually improving cognition. NeuroAge made several recommendations based on my test scores. First, let's talk about my MTHFR variant. Since I carry a detrimental variant in this gene, NeuroAge recommended supplementing with B vitamins, especially methylated folate and B12, periodic testing of homocysteine and folate levels to check before starting supplements and to confirm that supplements are working. Me being a carrier of an MTHFR variant tracks, since a recent blood test did show that my homocysteine levels were trending high. NeuroAge also recommends omega-3 supplementation to support the methylation pathway, improve brain health, and lower inflammation. They recommend limiting pesticide and toxin exposure, which further strain methylation and neuronal repair and can increase the risk for Parkinson's disease. To lower my chances of developing Alzheimer's disease, NeuroAge told me to focus on rebuilding daily habits around 4 pillars. One is my sleep, and nothing revolutionary here, but they said I should aim for 7 to 8 hours, have a fixed schedule, sleep in a cool room, and avoid screens after 9 p.m. As for my diet, they recommended it should be rich in olive oil, wild fish, colorful vegetables with polyphenols. They recommended incorporating more omega-3s to my diet or supplementing, as well as testing for omega-3 levels. The main idea here is that omega-3 fatty acid supplementation is helpful for preventing dementia and decreasing white matter hyperintensities, especially for people with ApoE4 variants. In terms of exercise, they recommended focusing on strength training and cardio, totaling 5 days per week, which is proven to enhance levels of a beneficial molecule called BDNF and brain volume. Then they told me to be more social and find ways to manage my stress better, including through regular social connections, mindfulness, and periodic dopamine detoxes. And lastly, to improve my memory, they recommended daily mental exercise such as reading, games and puzzles, learning new skills, creative activities, and supplementing with ashwagandha, curcumin or turmeric, lion's mane, ligustulide, and EGCG. In the end, the NeuroAge test gave me a better understanding of my Alzheimer's disease risk and my current brain health based on my genetics, health score, and cognitive tests. While my genetic results are alarming, I keep 2 things in mind. The first is that our analysis and interpretation of genetic data is still evolving, meaning that my genetic resilience score will likely change as we better understand genetic disease risk. And the second is that genetics is not the only contributor to disease development. My lifestyle, environment, and other factors will play a major role in determining if and when I develop Alzheimer's disease. I'll let you know my results when I get them. If you found this video helpful, click like, subscribe, and watch this video about the hidden dangers of genetic testing